Hey guys, Helen Hart Smith here again from the Heart of the Witch's Path YouTube channel. Hope you're having a good day. I'm all right. So this is my first video response for the 2018 YouTube Pagan Challenge. Woohoo! I'm super excited to do this particular challenge for 2018 because it's structured a little bit and it's yet wide open so that you can kind of make it your own. So I'm kind of excited about that. So thank you, Antuka, for or Annika. I always want to say that. I always want to say Antuka because that's another person that I used to follow on Live Journal back in the day. So it's Annika. Thank you for coming up with this and for sharing it with the YouTube pagans and giving us something that we can work towards and get to know each other a little better. So how this YouTube challenge is working this year is it's called the ABC of Paganism, ABCs of Paganism. And so how it's going to work is each month, so you're looking at, instead of a video for each week, you're looking at 26 videos that cover each letter of the alphabet. So each month you have 2, maybe 3. There's a couple of months that have 3 videos, or 3 letters, I should say, that you will correspond into videos. And so you start obviously with A, go to B, go to C. And so Annika put a list of possibilities. So like A is for Athame, B is for Besem, different things like that. So you select something about paganism that begins with that letter, and that's what you talk about for your video. And so, like I said, it's got a little bit of structure, but there's a lot of play there, because even if you followed the kind of list that she came up with, everybody has different perspectives on things, different, like Athame, everybody's got different Athames. So it's kind of cool to kind of talk about, maybe how you got yours or what have you. So here I'm talking a lot about Athame, but that's not what my A is. So there's kind of like an overview of what this year's challenge is about. And now I want to get into what my A is. So my A is animal guides. And I'm going to preface this video now, 3 minutes in. I'm going to preface it by saying there may be some of you out there that are watching this that are not going to agree with what I have to say. And that's okay. We can agree to disagree. I was kind of inspired to do animal guides as my A because Kathy shared with me a post on Facebook that I'm not going to go into all the details or anything like that, but I'll talk about why I'm inspired by it. So the posting had to do with cultural appropriation. And I get that there are definitely some folks out there that have cultural appropriation guidelines that they were either taught to follow or started following on their own. And I respect that because I have my own guidelines about cultural appropriation that I like to follow. As a matter of fact, Kathy and I did do a podcast about cultural appropriation, and I'll try to remember to put a link to that podcast in the description box if you're interested. I will say that part of the post that Kathy shared with me had to do with the fact that as a pagan or as a witch, you should not use the term animal guides or animal totems because that is a part of Native American spirituality. And that intrigued me because that's not what I was taught. So that here's where things might get a little dicey. So just bear with me. And I hold no ill will or tell you that you're wrong if you believe that and choose not to work with animal spirits. But here's what I was taught. The first thing I was taught is that shamanism is not a religious theory that is exclusive to Native American tribes. Okay? Shamanism actually goes back, and this is proven through anthropology, so don't jump on me that I don't know what I'm talking about, okay? This is part of my lessons with my 3rd year with Christopher Penczak that centered on shamanism. So shamanism is actually is documented to go back into Siberia. And that area of the planet is where shamanism developed. And shamanism, let's try to define some words here, okay? As I try to always do. Shamanism is the idea of the person that lived on the fringe of society, the fringe of the village. It was the person that was said to walk between the worlds, to walk between that mundane real world and the spirit realm. That's what a shaman is. And so shamans work with different spirits. They will work with ancestor spirits to help bring about things like healing and vision questing, different things like that, protection, fertility, different things like that. So they will work with ancestor spirits. They will also work with deva spirits and when I talk about deva spirits, I'm talking about that overall archetypal spirit that embodies what things are. And I'm talking mostly about stone and plant deva spirits. So when we talk about correspondence work, we talk about how things like sage is good for cleansing. We talk about how obsidian is good for supercharging your magic, different things like that. So what we're doing when we tap into that correspondence work is we're attempting to speak to the deva spirit of insert what you're working with, your color, your stone, your plant, what have you. And you're attempting to contact that deva, that spirit, and asking it to come in and work with you towards your intention. And so during my 3rd year with the temple studies, excuse me, part of that shamanic work had to do with animal spirits. And you were encouraged as part of your studies to connect with animal spirits and to find things like your animal totem, and to basically establish a network, I will call it, of animal spirits that could help you in your magic. Okay. And so I was lucky enough that not only did I kind of fill that network very quickly, I came to that year with my animal totem. I think I've talked before about how I have a wolf that is my animal totem, and he has been with me for years. Whenever I go into meditation, I always feel him at my right side. I feel his presence. I feel like him push against me, and I feel the heat of him, and I can reach down with my fingers and I can touch his fur. And he has been with me for a very long time. And so I also have, as I said, I'm not super comfortable talking about all my animal spirits. I may have I'm trying to think if I've talked about it at some point. And I may have, I may not have. I'll try to go through my my records and see if I've talked about them somewhere. And if I have, I will link it below, but I don't know. It's kind of something that's very personal to me and personal to my practice. But the bottom line is I have established a network of animals that I can work with magically, and they aid me, just like a deva spirit of a plant or a stone would aid me or could aid me. I'm not saying they would, but generally devas are pretty open. If you go to them and say, hey, can you help me? Then they're pretty open to helping you. That's kind of what they're there for. So they each have a purpose. They each have I don't really want to say a job, but if I have need of something, there's usually a specific animal that I go to. Or they originally came to me because I needed help with something. Okay. So, what I try to do to honor them is they are a part of my daily practice where, there is a day a week where I give an offering to them. And that is kind of like a care and feeding maintenance for them, as well as other spirit guides that I work with. And so I also, I have a representation of each of those animals that I keep in this bag. And for the most part, this bag stays on my main altar, but I also take this bag with me. And there's a different representation for each animal in here. And I will say there's about 10 animals, I think it is, that I work with consistently. And there have been other animals that I have worked with in kind of temporary situations. So if I need to really hone in on one animal, I might take that out of here and carry that with me or something along those lines. So I do have that. I'm also in the process, and I'm pretty sure I have talked about this. I have elemental altars in the appropriate areas in my sacred space. And you can see this shelf right here, the upper shelf that you really can't see in frame, that is actually north for me. And so, hello. Yes, I am talking about you. Whoa. Earth just said hello. So, I have my earth altar there, with a candle that I can light if I'm actually casting circle. And so the animal that is appropriate to that particular direction, I have representations there. And it just so happens that the animal in my north, I don't have a representation of. So that's why I said it's a work in progress. But I want to share, I did receive this guy, and I believe that I shared a picture of him on my Instagram. This is a gift that I received this year from one of my coven sisters. And so this is a stone wolf, and I love this so much. And so I feel very grateful that she gifted this to me. So I'm also establishing a spot for my animal or my wolf totem. And so I have that. And this same coven sister, I know I talked about it somewhere, but she gifted me with a year sponsorship for a wolf refuge. And so the roomie then took there's a 5x7 picture that came with that packet. And so she took that and made a photocopy and put it in a frame. So I have a shelving system that's kind of above my main altar that I want to add a shelf to so that I can use part of it for my wolf stuff or some of my wolf stuff, like the frame and this little stone statue. So that is my A for my ABCs of paganism. Animal guides, animal spirits, animal totems. There's a lot more that I could talk about on the subject, but we would actually be here for hours. So I'm just going to stop there to say that I work with them and that they're kind of like my go-to when it comes to magical things a lot. yeah, okay, I'm done talking. So if you like this video or learn something from it, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button. It's somewhere like in there, I don't know. Please comment below. Do you work with animal spirits, animal guides, animal totems? I would love to hear your perspective and things like that. And let's see what else. If you're not comfortable putting a post below, then feel free to email me at heartofthewitchespath@yahoo.com. And please don't forget to check out the Instagram because I have lots of fun there. And so that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching and thanks for walking the path for a little while with me. Until next time, blessed be.